The survey is something that Association Latinos started working on because we didn't really see the data out there. We are very good as associations to get data from our members, but we also need to keep track of ourselves and some of the initiatives that we have going on, like the DEL program or the Welcoming Environment for Association Forum. How successful are those being implemented, and keep track of our own demographics within the industry. So the purpose of that survey is to make sure that we are taking in that data and making sure that we have a baseline for how to move forward. Where are we now? And then moving forward, how are we improving with all of those initiatives?
This is Associations Thrive, the podcast celebrating successful associations and their leaders. I'm your host, Joanna Pineda, CEO and Chief Troublemaker at Matrix Group International. Listen in as top association executives tell all, revealing the creative and innovative ways they're increasing membership, generating revenue, nurturing engagement, and reimagining their organizations. By the way, if you've launched a new initiative, created new member services, or updated your governance structure and are seeing great results, I want to hear your story, and so do my listeners. I'd love to have you as a guest. Go to podcast.matrixgroup.net and apply to be on Associations Thrive. Now let's dive into this week's show. Today, I'm speaking with Jose Segarra, board member of Association Latinos, Rick Burt, board president of the Black Association Executives, and Don D., founder and chair of ASAE's Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Advisory Group. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, hi, great to be here.
Listeners, normally I interview an association exec. We talk about their journey, we talk about their organizations, and we talk about the things that their organizations are doing to thrive. Today is a little bit different. We are going to talk about a workforce trend study that Association Latinos has created to start keeping track of the success of DEI initiatives within the association community. Jose, talk to us about this survey. What is it?
Thank you, Joanna. The survey is something that Association Latinos started working on because we didn't really see the data out there. We are very good as associations to get data from our members, but we also need to keep track of ourselves and some of the initiatives that we have going on, like the DEL program or the Welcoming Environment for Association Forum. How successful are those being implemented, and keep track of our own demographics within the industry. So the purpose of that survey is to make sure that we are taking in that data and making sure that we have a baseline for how to move forward. Where are we now? And then moving forward, how are we improving with all of those initiatives?
Jose, this data does not already exist in our community.
That's correct.
Wow. And so Association Latinos has taken it upon itself to essentially sponsor or host this survey to try and collect this data.
Right. So we saw a need from the beginning of trying to get a hold of how many Latinos there are in the association management industry. And we went to several organizations, several vendors, and no one really had the data. And then I spoke with a colleague of mine, and he just looked at me and he was like, this data doesn't exist. So if you want that data, you need to collect it yourself. So that's exactly what we started doing. We partner with Dynamic Benchmarking. They're giving us a platform for free so we can collect this data and put it together. And we're sharing it now on social media via emails because we need everybody to take the survey.
Jose, when you say we need everybody to take this survey, you mean everybody. So who should fill out this survey? Spell it out for us.
If you work for an association, if you're in the association space, that's who needs to take the survey. Basically, everyone. Part of the questions that we have is self-determination. So are you working for an association management company? If the answer is yes, doesn't matter who you are. If the answer is yes, take the survey. Are you working for a 501c6, 501c3, 501c5? Yes. If you are a vendor, there's a category there for you. See who is servicing our industry and how diverse they are. So everybody that is in the association space needs to take the survey so that we can report important information about the diversity of our field.
Okay, so I want to make sure that we're very clear here. From the CEO down to the person at the lowest rung of the ladder, you want them, if they're associated with an association, you want them filling out the survey, and you want everybody of every stripe, every color to fill out the survey.
That is correct. We need everybody that works in an association, top to bottom, to fill out the survey. Yes.
Rick and Don, your organizations or your groups have signed on to support the survey. So, Rick, why did the Black Association executives decide to support this?
Yeah, Joanna, the Black Association executives, part of our goals is to support and mentor Black association professionals. We look to provide that mentoring and networking and career development opportunities. So similar to the approaches that the Association Latinos are trying to gather this data in a way to identify first who actually is working in the association industry. And then two, that then allows us to identify how we would aim our programming to address their needs of professional development. And so since this data does not necessarily exist in a way to where everyone has access to it to make data-driven decisions about their programming and outreach, this will help us truly be able to serve our populations that are working in the association industry across all sectors and in all regions of this country and beyond, perhaps.
Yeah, it sounds like having this data is really going to allow us to get a picture of where we are today. And then are the initiatives that we're all embarking on, are they making a difference? Now, Don, I have a question for you. So the AANHPI advisory group has also signed on to this. Why do you think a survey like this is important?
Well, part of the reason I founded the that time ANPI group, and then we later expanded to include Native Hawaiian, was that, Asian Americans represent nearly 7 million people in this country. And yet there was just no voice at all. So that's when I reached out to and got 30 leaders together 3 years ago. And our numbers, and then we had a get together at the ASAE annual. And we had about 50 people at that time. And each year, the numbers have doubled. And this year, we're expecting nearly 200. I think it gives us a baseline. The data set gives us a baseline. And more importantly, it helps understand where we are by the levels of people so that we can mentor, so that we can sit there and provide leadership opportunities for people. I mean, we're doing a lot of things. Every time we hear about an opportunity, we post it up on our website, we on LinkedIn as well as on Collaborate. So I think it gives us that entire picture of where we are, what are the opportunities in the future, and how do we get there? We use the mentor and other competencies, because in fact, you can ask Con Vu. Con has opened up his entire association with online education. We serve Asian American engineers, scientific engineers, and just how we pull resources together to help each other. So it's a rising tide, and it lifts all here.
Jose, what kind of data are you collecting?
We are collecting a lot of demographics. So to your question earlier about who needs to take the data, we're also asking about gender. We're asking about LGBTQ folks, like how do they identify? So this is basically a very broad survey so that we can assess who we are as a community. We're also asking questions about, to Don's point, professional development to see how people are advancing in their careers. So one of the questions that we ask is, how long have you been in association management? What was your title when you came into association management? And what is your title right now? So we can see by gender, by ethnicity, how are people advancing from the entry level until that top position, and make sure, like Don said, that we continue to mentor the right folks so that that continues to advance.
And I'll jump in there. I think, some of the other pieces in the survey that I think will be relevant long-term are questions around where is your work setting and where do you live? So we can have that cross tab to identify regions of the country that might be impacted when it comes to salary, for instance, because those sometimes are the questionable things that people guess. Oh, I think it's this, or I think it's that. But it's good to have actual data from participants who have provided that so we know where we are speaking when it comes to comparison across different regions, as well as different types of associations or groups that support association work.
Well, Rick, the survey is collecting a whole lot of data and your organization is supporting it. What do you hope to get out of this? What do you hope to learn?
I would hope that this data is going to validate some thoughts and some opinions that have been shared about those that work in the association space. And I would say, speaking on behalf of the Black Association executives, I really hope it will validate or disprove some of the pieces that have been in the spaces as it relates to Black people that work in association management, and truly help us identify what we might need to be doing that we may not already be doing, or what we can continue to build on to develop additional leaders and professionals into the future.
Don, I got a question for you. When I met Allegra Tasaki, who's on the advisory group with us, she said that she met Wendy Jo Toyama many years ago at a conference, and she was so excited to see another Japanese American. Why is this important?
It's a very good question, because whether this is true or not, I think there's some merit to it. Asians tend to be encouraged to be seen and not heard. And, to be able to raise a voice, to be able to share a voice, I think it helps to inspire others.
Jose, how does one find the survey or get a link to the survey?
If you go to LinkedIn and type Association Latinos, you're going to see it all over. And I think one of the things that I need to stress out, I don't want people to start thinking about all these things that we're talking about and think that the survey is like 20 pages long. It's literally less than 5 minutes.
It's pretty short.
It is very short, but there's all this excitement because it's short and there's so much that we can do with the data or find out about our industry with the data. So don't get scared. It's not going to take you 20 minutes. It's just less than 5 minutes. And it's all information about you. It's all anonymous. And, you know that information. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to look it up. That's why it's so fast to complete.
Now, Jose, the survey itself is anonymous, but there is a separate way on a separate platform where someone can basically sign up to receive information about the survey. So that's something that comes at the end of the survey. Am I right?
Yes. So one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we share the data, as Association Latinos, as these groups that are coming together to support us. We don't want to hold on to the data and then trickle it. This is what we're going to share here and this is what we're going to share there. We want to make sure that we have the data as a community. So at the end of the survey, the platform is going to redirect you to another page. It's a form that you can fill out. And there you can say, this is who I am. This is my email. I want access to the data when it's available. And then we'll make sure that you get that. And you can also sign up for a $25 gift certificate raffle for filling out the survey.
But I think I want to stress here that there is going to be no way to correlate your responses with your personal information.
It's all anonymous. We don't have access to who filled out what. The only thing that we can see is the time that the data was submitted. That's all.
Jose, you've got a session coming up at ASAE Annual this August where you will be discussing the results of the survey. Am I right?
Yes. As Association Latinos, we're going to have a short session in the exhibit hall. So I don't have all of those details yet, but please follow us on Association Latinos on LinkedIn, and we'll definitely be posting that.
All right. So listeners, I will put a link in the show notes to the survey. Please share the link with everybody that you know in the association space, because the greater the number of people who fill out the survey, the better the data is going to be, and it will benefit all of us. Be on the lookout for information about this session at annual. And then when you want the results of the survey, at the end of the survey, make sure you fill out the SurveyMonkey so that you get the data. Any final words from you, Rick?
I just want to encourage all of our colleagues in the association space to please participate. This is valuable data that is not being collected anywhere else, and it's going to help drive our decisions and how we serve the populations that are working in the association management industry.
Jose, any last words before we close out?
Yes, I want to encourage everybody to submit the data. Go and find the survey. I know you're going to share it. We're sharing it on Association Latinos on LinkedIn. Please do so. However you get the link, just take less than 5 minutes to submit the data. And one of the things that we're planning for the future is making sure that every other year we send out this survey so that we can keep track of the progress that we're doing as the community.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on today and for sharing information about this very important survey. I hope that I see it everywhere on LinkedIn, on social, and via email so that we all can participate. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to Associations Thrive. We're so glad to have you here. You know, my personal mission and the mission of my company, Matrix Group International, is to help associations and nonprofits increase membership, generate revenue, and thrive in the digital space. I want to hear stories of how your organization is thriving in today's challenging landscape. Please apply to be on my show by going to podcast.matrixgroup.net. By the way, do you need help with a digital initiative? Maybe it's a website redesign, a new membership database, or a hybrid meeting that you're planning. I'd love to connect with you. Please visit the Matrix Group website at matrixgroup.net. Thanks again for listening to this week's episode of Associations Thrive. Don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a 5-star rating, post a comment, and share it with your colleagues and friends. Bye!